So as a female, it's become so easy to post that picture on Instagram, show a little more booty, get a lot more likes, get some feedback, whether your intentions are good, bad, or whatever, but you're going to get the attention, you're going to get the DMs, you're going to get a release of dopamine. At the same time, it's men that are promoting that.
They're modifying the behavior.
Right, we're modifying the behavior. And then when we want, and then the women do that because it's a temporary fix, when in fact, if they had discipline and, what did I say, delayed gratification, they might work on their character, which is harder to do, but in the long run, it then makes them more valuable.
Absolutely.
The flip side is men. When we get frustrated with a situation, then we go to the porn.
Yes.
And the porn is there for us. It gives us, I guess, everything we want, I guess. And then we don't have to invest in ourselves to become the kind of man that doesn't need porn to find the women of our desires.
Yeah.
Am I explaining this correctly?
Yes, you are. Like essentially what pornography, well, the thing is, as much as I'm talking about women, they don't get here alone. Women in certain cultures will not post a bikini picture because the men in that culture will not reward that behavior. They won't reinforce it. They might reinforce the opposite, where they will go nowhere near you. But we're living in a world now where men are reinforcing that. They're reinforcing the kind of OnlyFans girls. She's getting the most followers and she's getting the most likes. So what's happening is we're modifying the women's behavior. The men are modifying it by rewarding the wrong behavior and punishing the right behavior. So the women that are actually quite discreet and working on their character don't get as many brand deals, and they don't get as much accolade on social media, and they don't get a platform. Whereas the women that are exposing themselves and selling themselves, they get the most reward and praise in this day and age. So it's not just the women's fault. We have to think about who's rewarding them, and then it's almost like a form of conditioning, a form of operant conditioning. We're kind of creating the woman that they actually don't want to be with. They're molding and rewarding and punishing all the traits until they create a woman that they actually are incompatible with, and then have to replace her with porn because they don't like the woman they created or the woman they selected. So it's dark times, unfortunately.
So as men, we're creating the kind of women that we ultimately don't want.
Exactly.
And then women are creating the type of men that they ultimately don't want.
Yeah, well, they're becoming a person they don't actually want to be, and men are creating women that they don't actually want to be with. They're liking and commenting and trying to be with that really sexy, narcissistic kind of woman, and then when they're with her, they're really disappointed. But there was plenty of nice, kind women that you ignored to focus on those women. So we're almost modifying a femininity into a person we actually can't connect with.
Now, it's one thing to like someone's post on Instagram that's that type of woman, but like there's that old song, the type you don't bring home to mama. So like, but in the real world, men can recognize a woman who is grounded and has great values and is someone they want to be with long term. So won't that always win out?
I think in the real world that applies for men of a different generation. They can definitely distinguish between women that you enjoy your time with and women you invest your time with. They can definitely distinguish that. The younger generation cannot. And the reason being is they are so over-sexualized. They are so exposed to sexual women, whether it's through pornography, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. So they just think this is how women are. They don't know the opposite. They don't know the more chaste woman or the one that is slightly has more discretion when it comes to exposing herself. They only know the ones that are willing and prepared to do it. So this is what they think women come as. So I think the generation has changed so much that the younger generation don't have any discernment at all. And so, and it's not just the women's fault. The women are also being left with men who are, almost addicted to pornography, and as a result are over-sexualized as well. And therefore, she feels like she has to keep up with this kind of desires he's created in his head. So that we've got this young generation that are so disconnected, but they're so sexualized. So it leads to short-term mating strategies.
Okay, and now if you're a woman and you're hearing this and they're agreeing, what can they do to not become this woman?
It's very difficult. If I'm honest, I don't know what I would be doing if I was 17 years old. So I have to put it out there. It is incredibly difficult to be a young woman in this day and age, because if you try and withhold yourself, there'll be a bunch of guys putting pressure on you on a daily basis saying, send a picture, this girl does it, that girl does it. And if you go on your For You page, all your peers are doing that. So it's incredibly difficult. The only thing I would say is that the only thing that can separate you from this situation is having a set of intrinsic values and morals morals that will surpass your external appearance. And what I mean by that is working on something that is unique to you. If you work on just your looks, everybody has good looks in this day and age. Everybody can put a bit of makeup on, add a filter and look great. But if you work on something that is unique to your soul, it doesn't mean you have to be super intelligent. You could just be super gifted at something, or you could be super caring, or you can be super nurturing or kind, whatever it is. If you work on something that is more intrinsic, you're more likely to be irreplaceable. And you're also more likely to derive self-esteem from that overall character, rather than just one very vacuous trait, which is again very difficult to do when you're 17, 16 years old.